In the city of Southampton, England, lived 17-year-old Hannah Claire Foster. She lived with her parents, Trevor Foster and Hilary Foster, and her sister, Sarah Foster. Hannah was very good at her studies and was preparing to study medicine at university. On March 14, 2003, she went out to meet a friend, and they hung out at the Hobbit and Sobar pubs. It was common for Hannah to hang out with her friends at local pubs, and that night was nothing out of the ordinary. Around 10:50 p.m., Hannah's friend took a bus home, and Hannah decided to walk back home alone, since it was just half a mile away. Hannah's parents thought she might get home late and went to bed, as they were early to bed, early to rise people. The next morning at 5 a.m., Hannah's mom Hilary went to her children's bedrooms to check on them. She found Sarah in her room, but not Hannah. Hilary started worrying that her daughter wasn't home. She called Hannah on her cell phone, but it wasn't reachable. She left a message asking her to call back, but got no response. When Trevor woke up, Hilary told him that their daughter wasn't home. They called the friend Hannah was with the night before. The friend said she had taken the bus home, and Hannah had started walking home right after. Hannah's parents became anxious hearing this. They had no idea where their daughter could be, but they could sense a danger to her daughter. At 10:30 a.m., Trevor went to the police station and filed a missing person report for his daughter. Police started their investigation based on the information provided by Trevor. They traced Hannah's cell phone. It was active and was receiving signals from a tower in Portsmouth. They eventually traced and found Hannah's bag and cell phone in a recycling bin at the Portsmouth Recycling Center. Hannah's parents confirmed that the phone and handbag belonged to Hannah. Why would her phone and handbag be in Portsmouth? Or had she thrown away her phone and bag herself? But why would she do that? On March 16th, which was the second day after Hannah went missing, police received a call that an unidentified body was found on the outskirts of Southampton. Police were searching for Hannah, and now they had found an unidentified body. Could it be possible that the body belonged to Hannah? Police had Hannah's picture, and the body looked like it could be her. The Foster couple identified the body as Hannah Foster. The body was sent for an autopsy, and it revealed that Hannah was taken advantage of physically and traces of on Hannah's clothing gave forensic experts a lead to extract the killer's DNA. This DNA was run against all the criminal DNA records, and there was no match. Police also looked into Hannah's call history. Hannah had dialed 999 as her last call. That's the police emergency number. That night the operator had received Hannah's call and kept asking how he could help her, but he couldn't hear anything. He thought it was a wrong number and disconnected the call after 50 seconds. Police enhanced the audio of that 50-second call and noticed that Hannah was in a moving vehicle and a man with a South Asian accent was asking her questions about her family. Hannah was answering them in a scared, trembling voice. Police then reviewed CCTV footage from the time Hannah said goodbye to her friend. They identified 7 vehicles, possibly driven by the suspect that night. Hannah's parents went on the Crime Watch television show and appealed to viewers to help track down the suspect. All 7 vehicle details and the footage were also broadcast on television. James Dennis, the supervisor at Hazelwood Foods, recognized one of the 7 suspect vehicles as his company's vehicle and informed the police. James Dennis also helped police with details about the driver, like the fact that he didn't have a vehicle of his own, so he drove the company's vehicle, and that his delivery route was the same as the one shown on television. The driver of the suspect van was Maninder Pal Singh Kohli. The supervisor also told police that on March 14th, his face was clean, but the next day, he had scratch marks on his face. Maninder Pal also took a half day off that day due to back pain and went home. Police had reached Maninder Pal's workplace, and forensic experts collected samples from the van he drove that night. The evidence found in the van matched the samples collected from Hannah's body. CCTV footage confirmed that the van was at the recycling center in Portsmouth, where Hannah's phone and bag were thrown away. The police went to Maninder's house. His wife and 2 children were at his home. Maninder's wife was a UK citizen, and she told police that Maninder left for India on March 18th. On March 17th, he borrowed money for the flight ticket from his father-in-law, saying his mother was ill, and then left for India. Police cross-checked this information with the airport and confirmed that Maninder had indeed left for India. They collected DNA samples from Maninder's children, since children share the same DNA as their father. The DNA test results confirmed that the samples from Hannah's body, the van, and the children all belonged to the same person. It was concluded that Maninder was the criminal. Within 4 days of the crime, Maninder fled to India. Maninder's mother lived in Chandigarh, India. England's police contacted Indian police, and Indian police went to Maninder's mother's house. They found out that Maninder had visited her a few days earlier and then left. He had not contacted her since that visit. Indian police also learned that when he visited her house in Chandigarh, he had a beard and wore a turban. But before leaving, he removed the turban and shaved his beard and head, which is very unusual for a follower of the Sikh religion. Clearly, he had done this in an attempt to disguise himself. Time passed, and nobody knew where Maninder was. There was no progress in the investigation. The foster couple knew who the criminal was, and they could not bear the fact that he was freely walking around in society like everyone else. They wanted justice. They wanted him punished for what he did to Hannah and for all the pain he had caused them. They could not wait for justice. Instead, they went after it. On July 10, 2004, 15 months after the crime against their daughter, the foster couple landed in India in pursuit of justice. The couple's goal for the 10-day visit to India was to trace Maninder. They first went straight to Chandigarh, as they believed he must be hiding somewhere nearby. The foster couple went on Indian media and appealed to the public to help them track down Maninder. They circulated Maninder's photos in all possible appearances to help people recognize him. After the appeal in Chandigarh, they traveled to Delhi, the capital city of India. In Delhi, they once again appealed to all the news channels and media. The appeal spread like wildfire. Every news channel broadcast it, and every newspaper headlined it. The foster couple visited every major city in India, shared their daughter's story, and appealed to the people for help. In partnership with The Sun, Hampshire police announced a reward of 5 million Indian rupees for anyone whose information led to the arrest of Maninder. The foster couple arrived in India on July 10th, and by July 13th, every newspaper and news channel had published and broadcast Hannah's story and the hunt for Maninder. On July 15th, a taxi driver in Darjeeling contacted a retired police officer he knew and told him that he recognized a man who had recently moved to Darjeeling, and he looked similar to the criminal's photo shown in the news. The retired police officer contacted local police and passed on the information. Coincidentally, that same day, Maninder was trying to flee to Nepal, and police caught him on a bus headed there. Maninder had been living under the name Mike Davis in Darjeeling, and there was a woman with him when he was caught. Reportedly, he had married again in Darjeeling and was trying to escape to Nepal with her. Police arrested him and brought him to Delhi. Maninder revealed everything that had happened that night in an interview with the media. On March 14, 2003, Maninder was drinking in his delivery van, parked outside the Sobar pub. Around 10:50 p.m., he saw Hannah walking alone on the road, and it was dark. It gave him bad thoughts, and he forced Hannah into his van. Hannah dialed the police, but could not speak a word as Maninder was right next to her. The operator thought it was a wrong number and disconnected the call. Maninder drove Hannah to a remote location and took advantage of her physically. He was afraid that Hannah would report him to the police, so he her and dumped her body on the outskirts of Southampton. But Hannah's cell phone and purse were still with him. The next day, when he took time off from work due to back pain, he threw the phone and bag into a recycling bin at the recycling center in Portsmouth. After that, he got to know that his mother was ill, but didn't have enough money for a flight ticket. He borrowed money from his father-in-law, and on March 18th, he flew to India. He visited his mother, then changed his appearance by removing his turban, shaving his head, and shaving off his mustache. He then fled to Darjeeling, changed his name to Mike Davis, and started living there. He even married another woman in Darjeeling. It was then that the foster couple came to India, got Maninder arrested, and taken to Delhi. In the interview with the media, Maninder claimed that he had been drunk that night and had no intention of ending her life. But Hannah refused not to go to the police, and that was why he ended her life. The legal process of extradition went on for 3 years. Extradition is the process of handing over a convicted person to a foreign jurisdiction. On June 8, 2007, Maninder was extradited to the UK after 3 long years. And to tell you, he was the first person in history to be extradited between India and the UK. When Maninder landed in the UK, Hampshire police arrested him immediately. His DNA was a 100% match with the evidence found on Hannah's body and in the van. In August, when the case went to trial, Maninder retracted his earlier statement he gave in an interview with the media. He claimed that the UK police were trying hard to frame him in the case. Maninder pleaded not guilty throughout the court proceedings. He even came up with yet another escape plan. Maninder told the court that criminals had broken the van's window and thrown Hannah inside. Those criminals forced him to take advantage of her physically and her. And since he was drunk, he did what they told him to do. When James Dennis testified against him, Maninder claimed he had borrowed £16,000 from Dennis, and also that Dennis suspected him of having an affair with his wife. According to Maninder, that suspicion was the real reason behind Dennis's false testimony in court. Police investigated to see if there was any truth to Maninder's claims against Dennis. But it turned out he was lying once again to escape justice. He was found guilty and sentenced to at least 24 years in prison without the possibility of parole. When Maninder saw Hannah walking alone in the dark streets, a bad thought took birth in his mind to take advantage of her physically. He forced Hannah into the van and took advantage of her physically. After the act, he was scared Hannah would report him to the police, and Maninder decided to end her life. Hannah was truly courageous. Even at that helpless stage, she refused to back down from going to the police. Maninder couldn't silence by scaring her. On the contrary, Hannah's courage scared him. Maninder took her life to silence her. This one part says it all about Hannah Foster. There were 12 people who helped in the arrest of Maninder. The reward of 5 million Indian rupees was divided among those 12 individuals. One of them, the taxi driver from Darjeeling, used the award money to start the Hannah Memorial Academy, offering free education to disadvantaged children. When the Foster family knew about this, they set up a registered charity to support the Hannah Memorial Academy. The criminal belonged to the same country as the man who started the Hannah Memorial Academy. It's never the country that defines us. It is always our choice. Hannah Foster's legacy continues to live on through a noble cause.